Hey everybody, Pierre Marquette 1223 back in Coopersville, Michigan for a John Engler update and a few looks at a couple other things. What you're looking at is the roof that was over the John Engler while it was on display in Grand Rapids. Apparently they wanted every little bit of that display, and I almost think they might use it at the depot, because this is actually a very well built structure and does not have any problems with keeping water out. So but this is the roof. I mean, this was out, obviously the finial's missing off the top right now, but this was on display over the John Engler for many years, and it's certainly in good shape. And apparently when the Coopersville Marne got the engine donated, they got everything donated including the roof. Now, it does not look like much has happened with the John Engler itself. The engine is, at least the top part, is still sitting here. The cab and the boiler, everything are still sitting here. Obviously they haven't really been, it looks like maybe it moved a little bit, but but I mean, not much has really happened since the engine's boiler was moved here. I just checked to see, and the tender and chassis have been moved. Where? I have yet to find out. And another big note, the C&O baggage that was here is gone. And these look like the axles of that C&O baggage. And there is a dumpster here. I think the C&O baggage got scrapped. I'm not for sure, but this is what I think. I really have no way of getting in here. Oh yeah. The C&O baggage was cut up. So, yep, when we saw the C&O baggage, it was probably the last time it was ever be in one piece again. So, say goodbye to the C&O baggage. So, freed up some space over here on the deadline. I don't know what they probably will sell off the axles. I'm sure the axles are good still. I mean, obviously there's money to be made there. Now this really bad wood caboose is still here. Heck, they're scrapping there too. They've really been scrapping something in here. But the wood caboose is still here, and they don't even really know the history of this piece. I don't think they've really looked for it, or they found it yet. But the caboose looks to be fairly old. Here's a coupler that must have came off of the baggage. I'm assuming so, because it was blue. I would guess that they would put it on the John Engler tender, because there is no coupler on that tender. So it'd be a fairly smart usage of that coupler. Now this is an interesting piece right here. This is a well, I don't know. From what I've heard, this is a C&O caboose. Now this was also on display next to the John Engler in Grand Rapids. And from what it looks like, the whole thing, the track and all, was moved. Not just the caboose, but the track and all. So something tells me that maybe the caboose might be welded to the track. It is wood. It's starting to rot bad. I mean, the style of it reminds me of C&O even, so I don't know exactly what the plans are with the caboose, but hopefully they'll end up doing something with it. I mean, there are traces. It's just not in anywhere decent shape as is the John Engler. So this wood paneling is starting to peel back. Heck, the window's not even in on that one. So just, I mean, it looks to be old. It really does. And it's been sitting there for a while on this track. So I'm going to continue to look around for the other bits and pieces of the John Engler. For all I know, they could be stored indoors at the moment. So if that's true, then I probably will not be able to get a chance to check them out. But I'm going to continue to look for the John Engler pieces. But obviously there has been some activity going on down here at the Coopersville and Marne. Let me look and see if I can see what's inside of this scrap bin here. Oh yeah, this is more stuff out of the C&O baggage. This is all the old rotten wood and stuff. So obviously when they said the car was going to be scrapped, they weren't lying. But it's unfortunate they would have to scrap something even though it is only a C&O baggage. So but yeah, I'm going to continue to look around for the John Engler. Oh, that's been moved. There's been a couple things too that have been moved, and I have something else I want to show you too. That is, I think, is really interesting and hopefully is a good sign. To maybe see that the Coopersville and Marne might be starting to put some money back into their equipment, which would be a good sign for a lot of things, because the equipment here is not in the greatest of shape. So, but I'm going to continue to look around, like I've said for the millionth time, for the John Engler pieces, and we'll showcase those if I can find them. And hopefully the engine will slowly start to come together, and I will also have to keep an eye out for this C&O caboose. And at the same time, I say C&O, and it says C&O on the trucks. So that might be a pretty good indicator that this is C&O, unless it has just C&O trucks. So gonna go look for the John Engler 1223 out. Okay, so I found the John Engler's chassis and tender. It doesn't look like much reassembly work has been progressing on the engine. The front of the engine is pushed right into the coupler of coach number 703 here, which has not seen service in years, because this was the first paint scheme the C&M wore. But the engine, though, the pilot truck has been put on the engine, or put back on the engine, put back on the rails, which is good. And obviously the engine has been rolled since. I will note, though, that the tender and engine have been rejoined. So, but yes, the tender and the chassis have been rejoined once again, so obviously they've been rolling them all at the same time. There clearly has been no attempt yet at putting the boiler back onto the locomotive, so that is yet to be seen. I'm sure they will end up moving this engine again when it comes time for that. Still says 300 on the tender here. Let go. Okay. Got snagged on a weed. But John Engler still on the side. And they made sure that the engine will not roll in any circumstance. They got a derail back here in case anybody tried to roll off with it. I'm curious to see when they move this engine next. I would like to see it in somewhat of an operational state. I mean, not obviously where the engine's working, but I mean just to see everything moving. So, but this gives you a full scope of the length of the engine and tender though together. So it's a decent sized locomotive, but it'll be nice to see when the boiler and cab get put back on. But this is all I got for the John Engler update. So clearly not much has progressed since the engine was brought here a few weeks ago. Besides the fact that the rest of the John Engler's display has been brought to Coopersville, there really is nothing much more that the Coopersville and Martin has done on this engine. So hopefully they keep the engine up, because I mean it is pretty good compared to their other one. So but I'm gonna dig more into this engine and find some stats, you know, to see what this thing could do back in its day. So but this is all for the John Engler update. 1223 out.